It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another comic book review for The Walking Dead. This is going to be my review for issue 188 called Falling Into Place. Now, starting off, I gotta just say this. I think this was a slow issue and sort of a underwhelming issue. Now, I know for the entire Commonwealth story, it's been like that. It's been really slow, and you know, even when we had the New World Order story, starting off the Commonwealth story, it was sort of slow and there was not a lot of payoff. And it's the same kind of thing. We have a lot of build up, even slow build up, but we're not getting a lot of payoff, which is what's frustrating me a little bit. And that's one of the main reasons why this review is late, is because, you know, there wasn't anything there for me to talk about. It was just very slow. There wasn't anything going on. We could summarize this in like 3 sentences. But starting off with some of the plot points. So we have the issue starting where we left off in the last issue. Mercer is caught by Lance as he's plotting a plan to overthrow Governor Milton. So we have Mercer. He's kind of sure about himself. He thinks that the guards are gonna support him and they're gonna back him up, but he is very wrong about that. The guards just stay silent and they don't say anything, and basically what happens is Lance puts Mercer in a jail cell and he basically imprisons him for, you could say, treason. That could be kind of the wording you could use for this case. But later on we have Governor Milton actually visiting Mercer in his cell and talking to him about, you know, what he did. But we have Mercer revealing that, you know, Governor Milton is power hungry. She's a wannabe queen. We have a pretty cool shot of him sitting in his cell there when he's being visited by Governor Milton. As we anticipated, the governor is not as it seems. This governor, much like maybe the old governor, is very power hungry, always. And she always does stuff to keep herself in power, or maybe people close to her in power. But this part of the story ends with Governor Milton saying, "Looks like you're where you belong," which is kind of cold. But then another part of the story, we have Maggie. She's at Hilltop. She's just sitting there. She's watching Baby Herschel, and she's kind of contemplating whether it was the right decision not to round up her people and march an army to the Commonwealth and, you know, start basically a big conflict with them because she doesn't trust Governor Milton. So she's just contemplating whether it was the right decision to just send that group out there. This leaves it open for a surprise attack. I mean, I know in writing sometimes you say that, but you don't do it. But I feel like in this case, it might be the opposite. Like they're planting the seed for that. So don't be surprised if you see an army pull up to the Commonwealth and Maggie's there leading them. She did a similar thing during All Out War as well, which is very cool. But then going from there, we have Jesus, Siddiq, Aaron, and Carl. They're on their way to Commonwealth, and then they see Princess. A pretty cool panel with Princess. She's just standing in the middle of the road. But what's very odd is that she just walks away or runs away. That was odd. I mean, you could say there's a herd around, you could say something, but it just felt forced and weird for her to just bounce like that. But then they go after her and they're surrounded by walkers, but Princess does roll around again and helps them. But it was just weird having her just bounce like that. You know what I mean? It felt a little forced. It felt like they wanted that to happen so they could have a little bit of action sequence with the walkers surrounding them. But, you know, they fight their way out. It was a cool action sequence. They were just helping each other and everything. It was great to see. But it was a little forced, to be honest with you. Not just the beginning, but the entire thing. Because there was almost no tension there. We know that they're not going to kill Jesus or Carl. So if you're going to choose characters that it's more likely for them to be hurt. And for the tension to be higher. The tensions weren't just that high in this specific scene with Jesus and Carl falling to the ground and things like that. But aside from that, you know, they fight off the herd and they regroup and they lead the herd away to a specific direction. As you know, we will see the herd later on in the issue, which is pretty cool. But that was pretty much it. Another thing with Princess that's forced in this issue is Princess doesn't think that she's good with being with other people. She thinks she's a loner. She talks a little bit about that to the group and, you know, she pleads her case. And then Cole says, you think you're some tough loner, that's a cool idea and all, but it's total bullshit. And he kind of talks her into going with them again. And the thing that I don't get is Princess just says, okay, I'll come back. It felt like it was very forced and it was very quick and it felt like it didn't need to be there. You know what I mean? It felt a little forced in that sense. And then in another part of the story, we have Rick talking to Michonne at the Commonwealth. But we have Rick talking to Michonne, and Rick is wondering whether it made any difference if he had or hadn't killed Dwight. Michonne tells him that, this has been brewing for some time, and that Dwight was just a catalyst, and this would have happened regardless. But Rick blames himself. He says that, there was no violence before because there was no alternative. So people were just following the orders. But now, when Dwight showed up, when he showed them away, that's when violence erupted. And that's what led to all of this and led to Mercer, doing that and the community being unstable and everything. But the thing is, whether it was the right decision or the wrong decision, you can't just keep your eyes closed and pretend you don't see the bad that's going on. So I kind of agree with Michonne here. Not that I agree with Michonne doing what she did in the other issue where it ended up leading to Dwight getting killed, but in this particular issue, I completely agree with Michonne. Then, as this is going on, Rick notices that things are escalating again, but Dwight is not there. So how is that happening? And then he realizes that Laura is potentially the person to blame. So he goes looking for Laura. Speaking of Laura, she approaches one of the guards who is loyal to Mercer and says, I'm a friend of Mercer's. Are you? And that's where that story kind of ends. Obviously, she's probably going to propose something along the lines of what Dwight proposed to Mercer and the others. And it's pretty much a continuation of that. I don't know why they would do that. It seems like it's the same story repeated, you know what I mean? They could have done something a little bit different that doesn't look like the exact same thing Dwight did, you know what I mean? But obviously that's going to continue, that's going to escalate, and we might lead to getting a civil war at Commonwealth. But then going from there, we have a scene with Eugene and Stephanie. They're fixing the train, but then the guards tell them that Governor Milton ordered them to leave and not protect them anymore, and that this mission is no longer a mission. They abort the mission. But we have Eugene and Stephanie kind of thinking about staying and working on the train together regardless, even though it means there's no protection around. They decide to stick around and continue doing what they're doing. But this pretty much directly connects to the cliffhanger that we got. We have Stephanie and Eugene working on the train. It's a pretty cool panel. Splash page, we have walkers approaching them. Now that's pretty interesting, pretty cool. And obviously, I don't know if they're gonna not hear the herd. I think it's probably the case where they're gonna hear the herd and just bounce. But, it was a cliffhanger, an interesting cliffhanger. And it was cool how they connected it to the scene earlier on. But that's pretty much it. That's everything that happened. There wasn't a lot of kind of content there. There was a little bit of, story here and there, but overall it was short and underwhelming. I hope this story gets a little better. I hope we get a little bit more in the future issues, and I hope the story picks up. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads. And while you're at it, check out my gaming channel, Jedi Age Gaming.